If you feel like you're already too late to learn AI, I have some good news for you. You're not. In fact, this might be the best time to start. Because despite everything you see online, most people still don't really know how to use AI effectively. They open ChatGPT, ask a few basic questions, generate an email or two, and think that's what using AI means. But there's a huge difference between occasionally using AI and actually knowing how to think with it, work with it, and automate with it. And that gap is getting bigger every single day. The good news is you don't need years to catch up. Give me the next 30 days and I'll show you exactly what I would learn, and in what order, if I had to start from zero today. We'll begin with the fundamentals, how to communicate with AI and make it part of your everyday thinking. Then we'll move into using AI to actually do your work, building reusable workflows, and finally automating tasks that used to require technical skills. 4 weeks, one clear roadmap, no hype, no unnecessary technical jargon. And if you actually follow this roadmap for the next 30 days, you won't just know more about AI. You'll know how to use it better than the vast majority of people around you. Before we jump into the video, I spent a lot of time researching and figuring out these workflows. If you appreciate that, please hit the like button and subscribe for more AI and productivity tips. Okay, let's start with week 1. In the first week, we need to do 2 things: build the right habits, and then learn how to communicate effectively with AI. Let's start with habits. A lot of people think learning AI means installing an app, trying a few prompts, and calling it a day, but that's only the first step. The real key is to make AI your default thinking tool. Think about an app like WhatsApp on your phone. You don't wake up and think, I should remember to open WhatsApp today. It's simply there, ready whenever you need it. AI should become the same kind of presence in your life. So how do you make that happen? There are 3 basic habits, and you really shouldn't skip any of them. First, use AI as a search engine. In the past, whenever you had a question, you probably opened Google. From today onward, try asking AI first. Whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, or Kimi, choose one you're comfortable with and make it your first stop. For example, if you want to know how to write a formula in Excel, don't immediately search through Google. Ask AI directly. It can explain the process step by step and even give you a customized solution based on your specific situation. In many cases, that experience is far more useful than a traditional search engine. Second, use voice input instead of typing. You can use your phone's built-in dictation feature or the voice function inside the AI tool itself. Speaking is much faster than typing. You may also find that when you speak, your thoughts come out more naturally and completely. Third, download the mobile apps. That way, whether you're on the metro, sitting on the couch, or waiting in line for coffee, you can talk to AI whenever you want. Once you've done these 3 things, AI has already started becoming part of your daily life. They may sound simple, but don't underestimate them. If you haven't built these basic habits, then no matter how much AI knowledge you learn later, you probably won't use it consistently enough for it to matter. Now that the habits are in place, we can move on to the main focus of week 1, letting AI become your coach. A lot of people immediately start by asking AI to write things for them, make presentations, or complete tasks. But that skips one of the most important stages. At this point, the goal isn't to make AI do your work for you. The goal is to let AI help you think more clearly about the work you're already doing. Think of AI as a colleague who has read millions of books and has a knowledge base far broader than yours. The problem is that this colleague knows nothing about your specific situation. So you have to provide the context. Tell it where you are, what you're working on, and what you're trying to achieve. Then let it help you analyze the situation, ask questions, and break down the problem. Let me give you a few examples. If you're a content creator, you might say, I'm currently running a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers, mainly creating content about AI tool reviews. My goal is to reach 50,000 subscribers in 6 months. At this stage, what are the few things I should focus most of my energy on? What mistakes do people usually make during this stage of growth? And what questions should I be asking myself to make sure I'm moving in the right direction? Another extremely useful approach is to have AI interview you. You can say, I want you to interview me. Ask me questions about the work I actually do, so you can help me identify which tasks are high value and which ones may be wasting my time. I guarantee you'll uncover problems you hadn't even noticed before. Notice that in none of these examples are you asking AI to simply write a report for you. You're asking it to help you think more clearly. That's AI's role as a coach. By asking questions, challenging your assumptions, and helping you organize your thoughts, it can improve the quality of your work. Of course, AI also has limitations. It's like a very well-read, clever colleague who still lacks real-world context. The advice it gives you won't always be correct, so you still need to use your own judgment. But here's an important point. When you feel that AI's answer isn't very useful or reliable, the problem is often not simply AI is bad. Half the time, the real problem is the way you ask the question, and this is where you need the debugging mindset. Writing prompts is not a typing contest. It's a process of continuous iteration. When the result is bad, ask yourself, did I define the role clearly enough? Did I provide enough background information? Was my goal specific enough? Sometimes you can even ask AI directly, why did you answer the question that way? Walk me through the reasoning behind your answer. That can help you understand where the response went off track. Here are 3 useful debugging techniques. The first is chain of thought. When the answer doesn't seem right, ask AI to think through the problem step by step before giving you a concise final answer. This helps you identify where the logic may have gone wrong. The second is verifier mode. Before answering your question, ask AI to ask you 3 questions first so it can better understand what you actually want. Have it ask the questions one at a time, then give you a new answer using the additional information. This is especially useful when you haven't completely figured out your own needs yet. The third is refinement mode. Before AI answers your question, ask it to improve the question itself. Tell it to give you 2 sharper versions of your prompt. Choose the one you prefer, and then continue from there. This improves the quality of the output. It also teaches you how to ask better questions. You need to practice these loops again and again, because this teaches you how AI works. Once you can clearly explain why one prompt works and another doesn't, you've truly started to understand AI. There's another practical technique. Guide AI toward experts. If your question is too broad, AI will often give you broad, formulaic answers. For example, if you simply ask, how can I improve my productivity? The response may sound almost identical to something you could find through a basic search online. This is because your question is too vague. So AI gives you the most common, average answer. You need to guide it toward more specific frameworks and more specialized knowledge. For example, you could say, using McKinsey's time management frameworks, Cal Newport's deep work philosophy, and the latest cognitive science research, tell me how to redesign my workday. It's still a question about productivity, but once you provide specific experts and frameworks, the depth of the answer can become completely different. And if you don't know which experts or frameworks to mention, ask AI first. You can say, in the field of time management, who are the leading experts? What are the most influential research papers? And what are the latest major theories? Let AI identify them first. Then feed that information back into the conversation and ask your original question again. Instead of generic advice, AI will synthesize high-quality ideas to help you think. Moving into week 2, we will finally let AI start doing work for us. Don't immediately start typing something like, help me write an article, or help me make a proposal. This is a major mistake. People do this and wonder why the result is mediocre. A much better approach is what I call the 10-80-10 rule. The first 10% is your responsibility. You set the direction, provide the materials, and define the standards. Tell AI what you want, what you don't want, who the audience is, and what kind of tone you're looking for. You cannot be lazy at this stage. If the direction is wrong from the beginning, it doesn't matter how much work happens afterwards. Then comes the middle 80%. That's where AI does the execution. And finally, the last 10% comes back to you. You become the gatekeeper. You use your judgment and experience to review the final result and make sure it meets your standards. Now let's talk about that middle 80%. First of all, you don't need to obsess over which AI model to use. The gap between mainstream AI models is getting smaller and smaller. Data from artificial analysis also shows that models from companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, Kimi, etc., are becoming increasingly similar in overall performance. The models are still improving, but the gap between the leaders continues to shrink. Eventually, the question won't be, which AI is the best? But what can you actually do with AI? So don't worry too much about which model you're using. Choose one and stick with it. The more time you spend with one model, the faster you'll understand its personality, strengths, and weaknesses. If you want the most mature ecosystem, choose ChatGPT. If your focus is business projects, choose Claude. If you want something cheaper, use Kimi. The key is to pick one first and build familiarity with it. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine you need to create a promotional proposal for a client. The first 10% is your job. You collect the client's background information, target customer profile, competitor analysis, and brand tone requirements. You organize all of that and give it to AI. Then you hand over instructions for the middle 80%. You might say, based on this information, generate 20 promotional creative directions from different angles. AI will give you a large number of possibilities. Then, for the final 10%, you choose the best 5 or 6 ideas and ask AI to develop those directions further. There's also a useful trick during this final quality control stage. Sometimes you'll look at AI's output and feel that something is wrong, but you won't be able to explain exactly what it is. That's actually a good sign. It means your standards are already higher than the current output. At that point, treat AI like a new intern. Tell it what you don't like. Explain why you don't like it. Then ask it to try again based on your feedback. As you repeat this process, your coordination with AI becomes smoother and smoother. So the core idea is simple. AI is an incredibly fast executor with an extremely broad knowledge base. But it doesn't have your judgment. Your job is to be a good director, not a typist. The third week. In week 3, we upgrade from having one-off conversations with AI to using AI systematically. What does that mean? It means taking the instructions you use repeatedly and turning them into reusable templates. Think about baking a cake. The first time you follow a recipe, maybe it isn't sweet enough, so you add more sugar. Maybe it's too dry, so you add some yogurt. After making it dozens of times, you eventually create your own perfect recipe. AI works the same way. Your prompt may start as a simple request. In version 2, you add tone requirements. In version 3, you specify the word count and format. In version 4, you remove rhetorical questions because you notice they don't fit your style. After a few rounds of iteration, you have a template that works better and better. Once you save those templates, they become your prompt library. At this stage, whether you're writing copy, preparing weekly reports, or analyzing data, every high-frequency task can have its own optimized template. That can multiply your efficiency. But there's a trend that is even more important than prompts. In 2026, what matters even more than how you write a prompt is the context you provide to AI. AI already knows an enormous amount of public information from the internet, but it knows almost nothing about your personal situation. It doesn't know the current status of your project. It doesn't know your brand voice. It doesn't know what your boss said in an email last week. Think of AI as a genius employee who knows how to do almost anything, but on their first day at the company, they can't even access the shared drive. The richer the context you give AI, the more precise its answers become. And this helps explain why companies like Google and Microsoft are working so hard to integrate AI directly into their office ecosystems. Because whoever controls your context also controls your attention. The more context you accumulate on a platform, the better that platform's AI understands you, and the more difficult it becomes to separate yourself from it. So here are 2 practical suggestions. First, manage your files well. Today, the quality of your file organization directly affects how effectively AI can help you. Second, centralize your information on one platform as much as possible. If your resume is in Google Drive, your interview notes are in Notion, and your company information is in another, then no single AI system can easily integrate all of that information for you. At this stage, you also need to develop a workflow mindset. That means breaking complex tasks into fixed steps, where each step has a clear input and a clear output, and then letting AI execute those steps in sequence. According to McKinsey data, fewer than 10% of enterprises are truly using AI agents at large scale. By comparison, around 20% of enterprises already using AI are doing so through workflow tools. The market has already voted with its feet. For now, workflows are one of the most practical ways to implement AI. So, what does that look like? Let's say you create a weekly work report. Previously, you might spend 1 or 2 hours every week writing the entire report from scratch. Now you can break that task into 3 steps. Step 1. AI extracts the week's key progress from meeting notes and project management tools. Step 2. AI creates a first draft using your preset template, including fixed sections such as this week's results, next week's plans, and current risks. Step 3, you review the draft and make the final adjustments. Once this process is fixed, the report can be completed in a few minutes every week instead of being rebuilt from scratch every single time. So the goal in 2026 is to turn one-off questions into repeatable workflows. The fourth week. The final week is about moving AI from something you actively use into infrastructure that can run automatically in the background. The simplest way to start is by using the AI features already built into the tools you use. For example, Notion has built-in AI summarization and generation. CapCut's AI features can automatically transcribe subtitles and help organize timelines. None of these requires you to build a completely new system. You simply open the feature and start using it. And there's another trend you need to understand. The AI technology gap is shrinking rapidly. According to an OpenAI report, 75% of enterprise users said they had used AI to complete tasks they previously could not do at all. They are doing entirely new kinds of work, not just working faster. AI programming-related activity among non-technical roles also grew by 36%. People working in sales, marketing, and operations are already using AI to write scripts, build automations, and create internal tools. So what does that mean for you? If you previously thought, I don't know how to code, so automation has nothing to do with me, you need to rethink that. AI has already become powerful enough that, in many cases, you can describe what you need in plain language and let AI help you build it. In the past, if you wanted a data dashboard, you might have needed to find a developer and wait a week. Now, you can describe what you need directly to AI. It can generate one in a matter of minutes. Also, with tools like Zapier or Make.com, you can choose a trigger, define the process, and let AI run the workflow in the background. So the goal of the final week is not to turn you into a technical expert. I want to help you realize that many things you once assumed you couldn't do are now possible. Once you enter the world of automation, you'll quickly realize that there are almost too many things you could automate. And with that, we've completed the entire 4-week roadmap. AI is currently in a very unusual window of time. Everything is changing extremely quickly. There is no such thing as an all-knowing, all-powerful AI expert right now. Everyone is learning, everyone is experimenting, everyone is still figuring things out. You don't need to be smarter than everybody else. Just learn a little faster than the people around you. And you don't need to spend weeks creating the perfect learning plan. You can start right now. Take this method and stick with it for the next 30 days. Whether we like it or not, AI is here. Some people may feel anxious when they see how quickly things are changing, but I still firmly believe that AI is not here to replace the value of human beings. It will help restore the value that humans should originally have. And that's everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to go deeper and get even more out of AI for your business, I've got another video you'll love. Check it out right here.